Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Katie. I love talking about books, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. You guys know the drill with this video by now. I do it every single month on my channel. I'm going to be using my TBR jar full of prompts to choose my monthly TBR from my TBR cart, this time for the month of March. Now, before we get into choosing my TBR for the month, we do a lot of other things in these videos too. One of those things being talking about new releases, and we have quite a few in the month of March that I'm excited about. The first one is In Our Own League by Liz Tom Ford. This is coming out on March 3rd. It's a Windy City series spinoff with the characters Monty and Reese. Monty is the coach of the Windy City Warriors, which is Chicago's MLB baseball team, and Reese is the brand new and the first female owner of an MLB team. They honestly seem to drive each other nuts a little bit and have a lot of banter and tension, so I'm excited to see how this one plays out. Also on March 3rd, we have Cara Stone's newest release, No Matter What. This is about a married couple named Roz and Vin, and there's one traumatic thing that ends up happening in their life that kind of like tears them apart, which is kind of a different take on a romance since the couple is already together. I really love Cara Stone's writing, so I'm really excited for this one. Also on March 3rd, we have The Bookstore Diaries by Susan Mallory. This is following our main character Jax, and she just inherited a bookstore, and it says there ends up being an unhappy accident that erases the names from the bookshop lockboxes where the town keeps their diaries. Don't really know, but she ends up having to read the diaries, and apparently there's some scandals that she uncovers. I thought it sounded interesting. Another one coming out on March 3rd, which I guess is just a very popular day for releases this year. This one's called Meet Me Under the Lights by Cassie Miller. This is a baseball romance. It's set in the small town. It's said to be for fans of My Life with the Walter Boys and The Notebook. Next is Wait For Me by Amy Jo Burns. This is a lit fic. This is said to be about the bond between two female folk singers, the love stories that haunt them, and the music that brings them together. Then we have The Lake Effect by Cynthia Dupree Sweeney. It's set in the 1970s, and I love reading books set in the 70s. It's about adultery, first love, and other family secrets, and Shelby Van Pelt says that she couldn't put it down. On the 10th of March, we have Catherine Walsh's new release, How to Write a Love Story. Sierra's father, who recently passed, was an author, and he left her with a few things to do after his death. One of them being that he wanted her to finish the series that he was working on, and that's where our main character Sam comes in because he is the editor that's going to help her finish the series. And then finally on March 31st, we have The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez. This is the second book in her newest interconnected series with Say You'll Remember Me that came out last year, and this one looks like it's going to get messy because it seems like she falls in love with her boyfriend's best friend. So we'll see how that one goes. Those are all the new releases that are on my radar for March. As always, if you guys have some that you're excited about, be sure to leave them in the comments down below so we can be in the know together. And there's a few things that I'm always keeping in mind whenever I'm choosing my monthly TBR. Number one is my yearly TBR. I haven't updated this page since I created it yet, but I've officially read 4 out of 15 books from my monthly TBR, so I'm feeling really good about that. I feel like I'm on track. I also haven't updated my series tracker spread yet either, but I want to keep track of the series that I'm reading. I don't want to start a new series this month. Currently, I'm in the middle of 8 series. I just finished one in the month of February, and I only have 1 book left in 3 of the series on this list. We have the Legendborn Cycle, Crescent City, and the Windy City series, so I'm hopeful to get some of those on my TBR for the month as well so I can finish those series off. Oh, you can come in. Good job. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of reading off my Kindle, so here are all the books that are currently on my Kindle TBR, whether I get them through Kindle Unlimited or through the library. So all of these books are eligible to be chosen for this month's TBR. I think that the one that I'm most excited about on this list, though, is the next book in the Emma and Lion series. I believe the next one I have to read is the 6th one. I cannot stop talking about this series, and I haven't read a book from this series yet this year, and I would love to have this on the TBR for this month because I feel like if it's actually on my TBR, I'll prioritize it more. So very hopeful for that one. And this is my current audiobook TBR that are also eligible for any of the prompts that I picked today. I personally love listening to audiobooks, so I feel like putting them in my TBR jar videos are a good way to make them more of a priority every single month. 2 books that are really standing out to me, and funnily enough, they are right next to each other on the TBR card, which are The Correspondent and A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. I have heard nothing but amazing things about The Correspondent. This is by Virginia Evans, and I've been reading a lot of great literary fiction reads this year, so I figured this would be a great pick to like keep the good vibes going with the literary fiction genre. And I love reading about witches. I feel like it's hard sometimes to find good witchy books that aren't set in the fall, or at least feel like you need to read them in the fall. This one just like screams spring to me, so these are 2 books that I would love to be chosen, besides finishing the series that I mentioned. For my first book on the TBR for the month, I'm actually not going to be choosing from the jar, and I started this last month. On my Instagram, I posted a picture of my TBR cart asking what book you guys would most want me to read in the month of March. Last month we had a very clear winner in Atmosphere, but it was a little bit more neck and neck this month. It ended up coming down to The Women by Kristen Hanna and Rewind It Back by Liz Tom Ford, but the book that ended up winning by 1 singular vote was Rewind It Back by Liz Tom Ford. I'm very excited that you guys picked this one because that means that after I read this, I will have finished the Windy City series, so that's another series I'm knocking off my list. And and that means I'll be ready to read her newest release that is coming out in the month of March that I talked about earlier. So I'm excited about this one. This is following Rio and Hallie. It's set in Chicago. It's a hockey romance. I feel like now is a good time to read this one since I'm such a big mood reader and it is a hockey romance. We're getting our second dose of winter right now in the Midwest, right before spring officially comes, so this is perfect timing. And I really don't know a ton about this book, but it seems like it's childhood friends to lovers, and I do love that trope. So I'm excited for this one. Rewind It Back is going to be the first book on my TBR for the month of March. Now we can go ahead and finally start choosing prompts from the TBR jar. I feel like I can see the words on some of them, so I'm gonna go ahead and look away. A free pick. Best day ever. Now obviously this prompt means that I can pick any book that I want, but at the same time it does kind of suck a little bit that I got picked for the first prompt, because I feel like when it gets picked later, maybe some of the books that I would have picked freely could have gotten picked for other prompts, versus right now I have the pick of the litter, which makes me nervous because I'm like, what books can't be picked for other prompts? Or maybe I'm honestly just overthinking everything. That's probably what it is. I'm honestly in between The Correspondent, A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, and the next Emma M. Lyon book, but I think I'm gonna choose the next Emma M. Lyon book, which I'll read on my Kindle. I've just been so excited to read this series, and it's honestly criminal that I have not read a book from this series yet this year. I also feel like it's a perfect time to read it since we are soon to be entering spring. It's a very like spring-esque series in my opinion. Well, maybe that's not entirely true. You're basically reading our main character Emma's journals throughout her life, and it's set in the Victorian era in England, but in each book it's like a 2-month span. So this next one's gonna be following the months of January and February, and I feel like even then, because we're following things seasonally, it still does feel like you could read them at any time, but for some reason my brain just thinks spring when I think of this series. Anyways, I am incredibly excited to keep reading this series. So the second book on my TBR for the month of March is going to be the 6th Unselected Journal of Emma M. Lyon. Let's go ahead and pick my third prompt. Set in a place you've traveled to. So that basically means every single fantasy book on here is a no-go. This one's set in Michigan, so I could pick this one. It's set in like specifically Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. I haven't been there. I also don't know if it's like a real place or if it's fictional or not, but I think just because I have been to Michigan, I'm gonna count it. This one's set in Ohio. I also have been to Ohio. I don't know where this is set. No. A lot of these also I feel like don't say specifically where they're set, or like maybe it just doesn't matter as much. Yellowface is set in Washington DC. Been there. I don't know why, but I thought The Correspondent was set in England, but it's actually set in Maryland, and I have been to Maryland. So honestly, just because I'm the most excited to read this book, I think I'm gonna pick this out of the other ones that I've pulled. This is about our main character Sybil, and she writes letters to make sense of her life. So I believe the format of the whole book is just set in the letters that she's written. It says, when letters from someone in her past force her to examine one of the most painful periods of her life, she realizes that the letter she has been writing over the years needs to be read, and that she cannot move forward until she finds it in her heart to offer forgiveness. Like I already said in this video, I've been loving literary fiction, so I feel like because this one has been so highly acclaimed, I'm really gonna enjoy it. So this is gonna be the third book on my TBR for the month of March. Let's pick the next prompt. Top row. Okay, so anything from the top row. Since I have the freedom to pick any book on here, I'm in between two. And the first one is Crescent City 3, House of Flame and Shadow. This is the third book in the Crescent City series. I don't know if she's going to be making more books in this series, but this is the last book that's currently out. So this would technically finish a series for me, and this next one would also finish a series. And it's also the third book in the series, and that is Oathbound by Tracy Dion. This is a part of the Legendborn cycle series. There's more books coming out, and I feel like out of both of these series, in all honesty, I've enjoyed Legendborn a lot more than Crescent City. But I also feel like at the same time, since Crescent City 2 is so fresh in my mind because I read it last month, I feel like I should just carry on the train and add Crescent City 3 to my TBR. It's also on my 2026 TBR, and I feel like if I don't pick this now, I'm just gonna keep on putting it off. So at this rate, I'm really hoping that I can get to Oathbound in the month of April, but I feel like my fourth pick for the month of March is going to be Crescent City 3, House of Flame and Shadow. I normally pick 6 books for a monthly TBR, and out of the 4 books that we have currently, every single one is a different genre, which I feel very happy about. And when choosing my next two, I feel fine about picking any genre besides fantasy, just because this one is a gigantic brick. So let's pick prompt number 5. Math? What? Oh my gosh, I cannot read my own handwriting. Matches my nails. To be completely fair, it kind of does look like it says maths. Currently my nails are purple. I got cat eye nails for the first time, and I'm really loving them. It's kind of like whenever you're a kid and you see a spoon and you're like, oh, that's so shiny, like I want to stare at that. That's how I feel about these. Like when I'm reading specifically and I have to flip a page, like I cannot stop staring at them. They're so cool. But anyways, that means we need to pick a purple book. Obviously, I could pick Oathbound, but because I already have a big boy fantasy book, I don't want to pick any more fantasy. And I feel like my only two other options options are probably Deep End and Buckeye, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and pick Buckeye because I feel like I'm more in the mood for this than I am Deep End. And honestly, these little houses right here match my nails perfectly. This plot honestly seems kind of messy, which I'm very interested in, but there ends up being an affair, and it seems like eventually that and other scandals and secrets are gonna come out. But one of the women in this book is a seer who can conjure the dead, helping families connect with those they've lost, which sounds very interesting. I don't know. I'm really excited. I've been loving literary fiction. I don't know if you would even classify it as that though, since there is a seer. I'm not really sure, or if we're like doing a little bit of genre bending here, but I've been eyeing this one since it got on my TBR in the month of December, so I'm really excited that it's finally on a monthly TBR. So the 5th book on my TBR for the month of March is Buckeye by Patrick Ryan. Let's go ahead and pick my 6th and final prompt. Can never open these with one hand. Flowers on the cover. Okay. I feel like that's very fitting for spring. Also, sorry if the lighting is really like in your face right now. It's kind of turned into a gloomy day at this point. A Witch's Guide. This has flowers on the cover. Very cute. Next of kin. There's like a little bit of a flower right there. But honestly, who are we kidding? I know exactly what I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangamon Donna because I said I wanted to read it at the beginning of this video and that has not changed. I read her other witchy book that I can never say the name of unless I have the cover right in front of my face in October, and I absolutely loved it. It was a 5-star read, so I'm really hoping for the same feelings with this one. I really love her writing. It's very witty and comical and definitely has like an English tone to it, which I very much enjoy. And her storytelling is so whimsical, heartwarming, and just like wholesome in general. So I'm really excited that this got on the TBR, and this is going to be the 6th and final book on my March TBR. Let's go ahead and do a quick March TBR recap. The first book on my TBR for March, which was chosen by you guys, is Rewind It Back by Liz Tom Ford, the 5th and final book in the series. The first prompt that I chose was free pick, so I chose the 6th book in the Emma and Lion series. My third prompt is Set in a Place That I've Traveled To, and I chose The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. My next prompt made me choose a book off of the top row, so I chose Crescent City 3 House of Flame and Shadow. Then I had to choose a book that matches my nails. I chose Buckeye by Patrick Ryan. And last but not least, my 6th prompt, I had to choose a book with flowers on the cover, and I chose A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangamon Donna. Alright, these are all the books that are on my March TBR. I feel really good. I feel like there's a wide array of genres, quite a few books that I'm very excited about, and 2 books that are going to be me finishing a series, which always feels really nice. If you guys have any thoughts on the books that were picked today, let me know in the comments, as well as books that are on your March TBR. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And if you watched until this far in the video, go ahead and comment down below the pink flower emoji so I know who the real ones are who watched until the very end. If you want to keep up with me on the daily, you can follow my socials. They're always linked down below in every video. And I think that's going to be it for me today. I love you guys so much. Hope you're all having an amazing day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys! It is freezing in our apartment right now. I need a blanket. Hey guys. I can't talk today.
She said, I want out of here, Lise. Bye bye.